know about you, but I have had so many parents come up to me and say, I could never homeschool. It just takes too much patience. And I think, yes, that's what happened. I just had all this extra patience I didn't know what to do with, and I chose to homeschool. I'm sure it comes as no surprise to anybody here that homeschooling moms are not more patient than any other moms, and that it doesn't actually even take more patience to be a homeschooling mom. We just have to use that patience to be able to do something that other moms don't, and that is teach skills. And what is so important about this is to understand that we are teaching in at least 3 different areas. Every single time we teach them a skill, any skill, we're actually teaching them 3 different things at the same time. So for example, I had a son who would trade Pokemon cards all the time, and he was like a card shark. I don't know, he was really, really good at it. And he went from 0 cards to a whole book full of cards. No money exchanged hands. He just got lots and lots of cards. And I started getting pushback from the moms in the neighborhood saying, hey, your kid's taken all of my kids' cards. And so I had to sit my child down and say, what's going on? And he was using all sorts of manipulation and a lot of different tools that were not super awesome to get these cards. And so I had to talk with him and say, look, every time you do this transaction, this business transaction, you are trading in 2 different things. You're trading in the card, but you are also going to be trading in goodwill with your friends. And you want to make sure that everybody feels good about the trade of the cards and also feels good about the goodwill. And hey, it might be okay if you actually give them extra goodwill. And so he did that, and it actually really improved. You know, things got really good on that. But that is a really good example of what it takes to teach any given skill in homeschool. We trade in 3 different areas when we teach anything. And the first is just the skill, making sure that they understand, you know, reading, writing, walking, speaking, whatever. We're teaching a skill. And the second is our relationship with them. We are trading. They either feel like they belong or they feel like they are being rejected. And their sense of identity is the third thing, that they either feel more of a sense of self or they feel like they're just an object that other people get to push around and decide what to do with. So every single time we interact with our kids in teaching kind of anything, we have to be aware of these 3 different components of that interaction. Now, here's the good news. You're already a master of this. You already do fabulous at this, and you do it just because you are a mom. For example, when your child was young and they were learning how to walk, you were trading in all 3 of these areas when they're, you know, here, take this step, let me hold your hand, and the relationship was improved because you were cheering them on and you're doing so great and I'm so proud of you and give me a hug, and their sense of identity was improved because you're saying you're so strong, you're so good, you're doing wonderful. So they were able to say, hey, I can do hard things, I can learn this new skill, and they really improved their sense of self in that interaction. That same process takes place in teaching them how to eat and teaching how to tie their shoes, get dressed, interact with their siblings, lots and lots of parenthood things. We are already really good at teaching in these 3 different areas every time we interact with our children. It can be tricky when you start saying, now I have to take that same idea of how to interact with my kids and apply it to teaching them. Because we have this idea, teaching is you sit there, I tell you what to do, and it's a dictatorial, top-down management kind of attitude. And so it takes a little bit of consciousness to say, I'm still in that same state that I've been the whole time that I've been a mom. That I'm going to work on both our relationship and your sense of identity and this new skill that happens to be academic. So it's reading, writing, math, things like that. So I want to talk about a tool for each of these areas that can help us just maintain that frame. We don't have to learn anything new. We're already really good at this. We just have to remember that it also applies when we're teaching school. Okay, so first thing, when you're dealing with this skill, the best thing I can say in this is have a really good curriculum, because you don't want to be so caught up in, I have to learn how to teach at the same time that I have to make sure you get all the knowledge you need at the right time, you know, in the right spacing. All of this is just too much pressure. Letting the curriculum do the heavy lifting, whether that curriculum is a classic or nature or an actual open and go textbook, whatever it is, if you allow that to do the heavy lifting, then you're going to be much more available to be working on the relationship and the identity. And there's no need to reinvent the wheel. If what you want already exists in a book format or in some sort of program, then buy it, use it. There's no need to be doing more work than you actually need to in this moment. And the second thing that we trade in is the relationship. And the best thing you can do to work on the relationship is just keep clear in your head. We are communicating either that you belong or that you don't belong here, that you're kind of rejected. And so simple things, let them sit on your lap, listen to what they have to say. First thing in the morning, let them be the center of attention. Let them choose what to read. Let them tell you what they did yesterday. Let them have their moment to be in the spotlight before. And I discussed this on my morning routine, how important it is to let them have their moment, because that communicates more than anything. You are an important part of our family. I care enough to put myself on the back burner and let you be the most important component in our relationship right now. Let them be first. It's just a really powerful thing. And in connection with this, it's not necessarily the academic, but it really flows into the academics. First thing in the morning, take that moment to just say, I see you, I love you, tell me about your night. Did you sleep well? What were your dreams? Did you wake up with a happy thought or a sad thought? Or how are you feeling? Are you excited about the clothes you get to wear? Whatever, but let that first interaction in the morning be very personalized and not transactional, not something that's like, okay, good, that one's up, now let's move on to the next thing. You want to be able to connect with your kids when they wake up first thing in the morning. And then at the opposite end of the day, when they're going to bed, having that last little moment be, I'm so glad you're in our family. It makes me happy to have you with us. You bring so much to our family. Just bolstering up that relationship with those quick little moments, especially at transition points like waking up and going to bed. That will create a good relationship that is not just in the morning and the evening, but it actually helps as you're doing school as well, that they will feel secure in their relationship with you, so they're better able to do math and they're better able to learn how to read. They just feel solid in their relationship with you. And the last thing is the identity. Your child's identity is so important throughout this whole education process. If they get done and they know everything there is to know, and yet they don't understand that they have the power to choose, or that their value is a part of who they are and not necessarily what they've created or what they've done, then we've really missed the boat. And so it's important to focus on the identity in every single interaction. And it is really easy to do this. All you have to do is focus on the process instead of on the end result. Now, they're going to have the end result, but it might not be for years. You know, you don't want to say, I'm going to compliment you just as soon as you understand fractions. That's a long wait. So it might be much better if you can say, hey, I really appreciate the effort you put in. That was really impressive. Or your focus was quite impressive today. Or you can say, hey, you did a great job with your relationships with other people. You know, you just find the process and not the end result, because the end result only happens once, but the process happens over and over again. And more than anything, our identity is all wrapped up in the process. Do we have what it takes to keep coming at it and keep trying and keep, coloring something that when you first start, it's like, wow, what is that? Tell me all about it. And then later you can say, oh, wow, that picture actually really moves me because A, I can tell what it is, but B, it actually evokes an emotion from me. Every step in that process, they need to know that their identity is secure. And so really complimenting the process as it goes and not just the end result builds up the identity. There is so much power in remembering that every single learning moment is built up of the skill, the relationship, and the identity. It does take a lot of patience to be a homeschooling mom, but if we're very clear on what it is that we're teaching, it's not just the skill. We're also teaching them how to relate to themselves and to other people and how to know who they are and their own personal identity. That kind of relieves a lot of that patience. It doesn't, or I don't know, you're still patient, but you understand that the patience that you're putting in is for a purpose that's higher than just, let's get through this, let's endure it. And that's a lot of what homeschooling is this is a greater worth. So I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope you have a great time teaching your kids in whatever it is that you guys are learning together. And I will catch you on the next one. Thanks. Bye.